Are your legs feeling weaker, heavier, less stable than they used to? If you're 60, 70, or 80, it's not just age. It's what you're not eating. Today, I'll give you 6 specific foods that can rebuild your leg strength and give you back the stability you thought was gone for good. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that adults over 65 with significant lower body muscle weakness had a much higher risk of mobility disability within 5 years, along with a marked increase in fall-related hospitalizations and admissions to care facilities. That's because most people have no idea what nutrition and muscle biology research has uncovered in recent years about stepping in before the problem gets worse. The first food on this list is probably sitting in your kitchen right now, something you may have even been told to avoid. I'm saving it for last, because once you hear why, you'll never look at your grocery list the same way. Let's count down from 6 to 1. Food number 6, eggs. You've heard the egg debate your whole life. They raise your cholesterol, they're bad for your heart, better to avoid them. That advice, especially for anyone over 60, turned out to be one of the most misleading pieces of health guidance ever widely circulated. Here's what eggs actually do for aging legs. Eggs are one of the most complete sources of leucine you can find. Leucine is an amino acid, and you can think of it as the key that starts the engine of muscle protein synthesis, the biological process your body uses to build and repair muscle tissue. After 65, your body develops what researchers call anabolic resistance. Your muscles become less responsive to protein signals, and they need a stronger trigger to get the same result. Leucine is exactly that trigger, and 2 whole eggs deliver about 1.6 grams of it, an amount research has found sufficient to meaningfully stimulate muscle protein synthesis even in older adults with significant anabolic resistance. But eggs offer more than leucine. The yolk, the part you were told to throw away, contains choline, vitamin D, and a compound called phosphatidylcholine that helps maintain the integrity of your muscle cell membranes. With age, those membranes become more fragile, less able to hold on to the nutrients muscles need to contract and recover. Throwing away the yolk is like buying a car and leaving the engine at the dealership. For best results, eat 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning, ideally with a bit of healthy fat like olive oil or avocado. The fat improves absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins in the yolk. Don't cook them in a dry pan on high heat. Gentle cooking preserves the integrity of the proteins. Food number 5, wild-caught salmon. If your legs feel heavy, if they ache when you wake up, if you get cramps at night, there's a good chance chronic inflammation is quietly damaging your muscle tissue while you sleep. Wild-caught salmon is one of nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory tools. The active compounds here are EPA and DHA, omega-3 fatty acids. Think of inflammation in muscle tissue like a forest fire. It starts small, burns steadily at a low level, and over the years chars everything around it: muscle fibers, connective tissue, the nerve pathways that send signals from your brain to your legs. EPA and DHA act like the water bombing planes. They don't just calm the fire, they chemically neutralize the inflammatory compounds your body produces in increasing amounts after 60. Several randomized controlled trials have tested omega-3s on muscle protein synthesis in older adults, with results that aren't always consistent. Some small studies found a real increase in muscle protein synthesis with omega-3 supplementation, while other longer studies found no significant difference. What the research agrees on more solidly is the general anti-inflammatory effect of omega-3s and their contribution to mitochondrial health in aging muscle, rather than one precise number for increased protein synthesis. Salmon has another lesser-known advantage. It's one of the few food sources of vitamin D3, the active form your skin can no longer produce efficiently after 70. Vitamin D deficiency, which affects a large share of adults over 65, is directly linked to muscle weakness, impaired balance, and a higher risk of sarcopenia, the medical term for age-related muscle loss. One serving of wild sockeye salmon delivers close to 1,000 international units of vitamin D3, well above the daily minimum recommended for adults over 70. Eat salmon 2 to 3 times a week. Wild-caught matters. Farmed salmon has a very different omega-3 to omega-6 ratio and doesn't offer the same anti-inflammatory benefit. Pair it with dark leafy greens to maximize the synergy with vitamin K2, which we'll cover next. Food number 4, spinach and other dark leafy greens. Think of every elderly person you've seen move with ease, get up from a chair without pushing off the armrests, walk without shuffling. Chances are dark leafy greens were a regular part of their diet, and the biology explains why. After 75, your body loses a significant part of its ability to recycle nitric oxide, a molecule that regulates blood flow in your legs. When nitric oxide levels drop, the tiny blood vessels feeding your leg muscles start to congest. Nutrients don't get in well, waste doesn't get cleared well, and the result is muscles that fatigue faster, recover slower, and shrink year after year. Spinach, kale, chard, and arugula are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts back into nitric oxide with help from bacteria in your saliva. A study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found that inorganic nitrate supplementation, at doses equivalent to about 200 to 300 grams of spinach, improved skeletal muscle efficiency. The muscle doesn't get bigger, it simply makes better use of the oxygen and nutrients it already receives, a bit like upgrading the fuel injection in an old engine. The engine itself doesn't change, but it runs smoother and lasts longer. In fairness, the evidence on nitrates and muscle strength isn't consistent across every context. A more recent study on middle-aged and older adults combining nitrate supplementation with resistance training over 12 weeks found no significant added benefit for strength or vascular function compared with training alone. That doesn't mean spinach isn't good for you. It means the specific benefit for muscle performance varies from person to person and isn't guaranteed the same way for everyone. Spinach is also remarkably rich in magnesium, a mineral a large share of adults over 60 are chronically low in. Magnesium is required for hundreds of enzymatic reactions in the body, and one of the most important is muscle relaxation. When your legs cramp at night, when your calves seize up, that's almost always a magnesium signal. 1 cup of cooked spinach delivers about 157 milligrams of magnesium, more than a third of your daily requirement in a single serving. Always cook leafy greens in a quality fat like olive oil. It significantly boosts absorption of the fat-soluble compounds inside them. Food number 3. Greek yogurt. Most people think of yogurt as a light snack. What most don't realize is that full-fat Greek yogurt is one of the most anabolically powerful foods available to an aging body, and it's dramatically underused as a muscle-building tool in seniors. A single cup of plain full-fat Greek yogurt contains about 17 to 20 grams of high-quality protein, with a specific amino acid profile that includes leucine, isoleucine, and valine, the 3 branch-chain amino acids absorbed directly into muscle tissue with remarkable efficiency. Unlike plant proteins, which are often incomplete, the protein in Greek yogurt is what scientists call highly bioavailable. It goes straight to where your muscles need it. But here's what truly sets Greek yogurt apart from a simple protein source. It contains live probiotic cultures, specifically lactobacillus, which influence what researchers now call the gut-muscle axis, a relatively new field of study. Research from the University of California, Davis, found that a healthy gut microbiome in older adults was directly linked to greater lean muscle mass, better leg strength scores, and faster recovery from physical exertion. After 65, the gut microbiome typically becomes less diverse and less efficient at extracting nutrients from food, and probiotic-rich foods like Greek yogurt help restore that diversity. For best results, eat your Greek yogurt within 30 to 45 minutes of any physical activity. Even a short walk counts. That's your anabolic window, the period when your muscles are most receptive to protein signals. Always choose plain, full-fat versions. Low-fat versions typically replace the fat with added sugar, which fuels the very inflammation we're trying to fight. Food number 2. Beets. I can picture some of you smiling, others skeptical. Beets aren't the first thing that comes to mind when you think of strong legs. But the research behind beets and physical performance in older adults is compelling enough that major sports medicine institutions have built beet-derived compounds into their recovery protocols. The mechanism is the same dietary nitrate we covered with spinach, but beets contain it in far higher concentrations per gram. 1 medium beet contains about 300 milligrams of dietary nitrates. When those nitrates reach oxygen-depleted working muscle tissue, they convert into nitric oxide with remarkable efficiency, producing what researchers call a vasodilatory cascade, a wave of blood vessel opening that floods your legs with oxygen and nutrients in a way aging blood vessels normally can't manage on their own. A study from Wake Forest University, conducted on a small group of older adults, found that a high-nitrate diet, equivalent to about 2 medium beets, increased blood flow to the areas of white matter in the brain associated with motor control. In other words, beets didn't just improve what was happening in the legs, they improved the brain's ability to control the legs. For anyone concerned about falls, coordination, or the nerve-to-muscle communication that erodes with age, that's a meaningful finding, though in fairness, the original study involved a small number of participants, so it should be considered promising rather than definitive. Beets are also rich in betaine, a compound that lowers homocysteine levels in the blood. Elevated homocysteine, common in a significant share of adults over 60, is linked to accelerated muscle loss, vascular damage, and impaired mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are your muscle cells' power generators. When they're damaged, your muscles run like a car with a dying battery. Roast beets at around 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 to 60 minutes to concentrate the nitrates without destroying them. You can also blend raw beets into a smoothie with a splash of citrus juice. The vitamin C significantly boosts nitrate conversion efficiency. Avoid boiling beets for long periods, since water-soluble nitrates leach out. And now, food number 1, extra virgin olive oil. I know some of you expected a protein, something exotic. But what I'm about to explain about extra virgin olive oil and the aging muscular system will change how you think about fat and inflammation. Extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal, a natural polyphenol that acts in the body much like ibuprofen. It inhibits the same inflammatory enzymes, COX-1 and COX-2, that prescription anti-inflammatory drugs target. To be precise, the effect is real but modest. About 50 grams of olive oil a day provides anti-inflammatory activity equivalent to only about a tenth of the adult ibuprofen dose. It won't replace medication when you genuinely need it, but it's still a real contribution, without the gastric and kidney side effects tied to long-term anti-inflammatory use, a meaningful consideration since these drugs are so often prescribed for joint and muscle pain as we age. There's real research on olive oil and healthy aging out of Greece, finding that exclusive olive oil use, compared with no use at all, is significantly associated with more successful aging, especially after 70. The more than 30 distinct polyphenol in extra virgin olive oil appear to directly stimulate what's called mTOR pathway signaling in muscle cells, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis, the same one leucine and resistance exercise activate. Olive oil seems to flip that switch even independent of exercise. There's also a mitochondrial angle. Research has found that hydroxytyrosol, another abundant polyphenol in extra virgin olive oil, protects the mitochondrial DNA in muscle cells from oxidative damage, slowing the degradation process that, with age, leaves muscle cells less able to produce energy and recover. For practical use, 4 tablespoons a day is the research-backed target. Use it as your main cooking fat for low to medium heat, and drizzle it generously over vegetables, eggs, fish, and legumes, to maximize absorption of its fat-soluble polyphenol alongside other fat-soluble vitamins, exactly the other 5 foods on this list. That's not a coincidence. These 6 foods work together as a system. Buy extra virgin olive oil in dark glass bottles, from reputable producers, and look for a harvest date, not just an expiration date. Polyphenol content degrades with time and light exposure. These 6 foods, eggs, wild salmon, spinach, Greek yogurt, beets, and extra virgin olive oil, aren't anything extraordinary. You'll find them in nearly every grocery store in the world, and they have the power to give you back something too many people in your position have resigned themselves to losing for good: the freedom to move through your life with strength, confidence, and joy. Here's what to do starting this week. Add 2 to 3 whole eggs to breakfast, cooked over gentle heat. Eat wild salmon 2 to 3 times a week. Cook spinach or other dark leafy greens in olive oil at least once a day. Have full-fat Greek yogurt within 30 to 45 minutes of any physical activity. Add 2 roasted beets 2 to 3 times a week. And use 4 tablespoons of quality extra virgin olive oil as your main cooking fat, drizzled over the other foods on this list. Human muscle tissue retains the capacity to grow and repair well into the 9th decade of life. Your body wants to rebuild, it's just waiting for the raw materials to do it. Your job, starting with your next meal, is to give it those materials. If this video was helpful, leave a like. If you have constructive feedback for me, write it in the comments. See you in the next video.